lot of paperwork and policy making. It takes
But that's
a
not
while.
entertaining.
Well, that sounds kind of boring. Yeah, so they go in with guns and explosives and stabby
course.
toxins.
Hey guys, Dennis Mockin here. Thanks for hanging out. Today's reaction to the latest pitch meeting. This is The Tomorrow War. Now, this movie just came out on Amazon Prime, so if you haven't seen it already, I highly suggest you watch it now because there's going to be many spoilers. And as always, I'm going to try to do my very best to let Ryan talk, but I'm sure I'm going to be interrupting him a few times here, and then I'm going to be giving my overall opinion on the movie and talk about anything Ryan may have missed at the end. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, please go over and support Screen Rant and Ryan George's channel. So I'll leave both of those links along the link to the original in the description. And as you guys can see, I'm getting pretty close to hitting 6,000 subscribers, and all you pitch meeting fans out there, not only by subscribing will you be supporting me hitting that goal, but you'll also be able to see future and past reactions that I've done for pitch meeting, over 50 in fact, and it is super easy to do. All you have to do is just go right below this video. First, give that like button some love and click that big red button there. And without any further ado, let go.
So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do. So the movie's gonna start with a bunch of people dropping into a rooftop pool in Miami.
Oh, that's fun.
From the
Yeah.
sky out of
Yeah.
a portal.
Oh my god, what?
Stay tuned to later in the movie.
Oh, you're doing that thing where you start the movie with a little clip from an action scene that's gonna happen later, just out of context?
Yeah,
Yep.
you want to start with some action right away, you know, so people get hooked.
That's a good point.
Sure.
So we're gonna meet this ex-military guy, Dan, right? And he loves science, and so does his little daughter, Murray.
Okay.
And so they're watching this soccer game, and on the field, these people come out of a portal, and they're like, there are aliens in the future, and they're killing everybody.
Oh, this also happens right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, we're like 6 minutes in at this point, right at the start here.
Wow.
Yeah, you want to start with some action right away, you know, so people get hooked.
So then maybe we don't have to spoil that cool sky drop visual
No,
for later?
no.
Well, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, so we find out that in the future, aliens have killed like everybody. There's this war going on, and there are like 500,000 humans left.
Oh, so these people come back to the past to stop the war from ever happening?
No,
Nope.
they came back because they need to draft more people to go fight in the future.
Wouldn't it be better to use the time to prepare for the war instead of jumping into a
think.
fight that already seems to be lost?
Right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe it's a different timeline or something.
So one of the people from the current timeline want to prepare themselves for their eventual future instead of jumping over to this
You would
timeline's
think.
fight where it already seems to be lost?
Listen, sir, you can't be asking questions like that,
All
or
right.
there's not going to be a movie. So I'm going
Right,
to need you
sure.
to get all the way off my
Okay.
back.
All right,
It's just
I'm
that
so
any
sorry.
way you look at it, it seems like a weird strategy. But let me get off of that thing.
Yeah.
I'd like the movie to happen for
Uh-huh.
sure.
Me too.
So do they draft like military people?
Yeah, some, but also just like normal people, you know.
So these aliens killed almost everybody in the future, and the plan is to send some more people and kind of see what happens?
That's what we're going with, sir. So the world bands together for this mandatory draft that somehow only seems to involve Americans.
Well, we are the ones making the movie, so it's only fair.
it's only fair.
Sure.
So this guy Dan ends up getting drafted, right?
Right, okay, pretty rigorous training, I imagine.
Barely any. This
No,
one lady's
not
gonna
at
get
all.
sent to the future, and she's like still in her office clothes from work.
But they show them the monsters and tell them what to expect and whatnot.
Not really, no, because they say if they show people the monsters, then people aren't going to want to go fight in the war. They're just
Yeah, they don't really give much of any information to prepare any of them for what's to come, which is basically just sending them to their deaths.
scary.
But the draft is mandatory.
It is, yeah. Nobody has a choice in the matter.
Okay.
And also, they're only sending people from the present that are already dead in the future, so it doesn't create like a paradox.
Didn't you say that almost everybody's dead in the future?
Yeah, so I don't know why I'm mentioning that. Huh. So anyway, Dan and a bunch of people head into the future, but because of a coordinate malfunction, they drop into the middle of the sky instead of close to the ground.
Oh, so that's why they fall from hundreds of feet into a swimming pool. Wouldn't that also be deadly, though?
Yes.
I think so, because of how things work. But no, anyone who
No.
falls into the pool is perfectly fine.
Oh, well, great.
So Dan and the other survivors find out they need to go to a research lab in another building.
How come?
Well, there's some science stuff in there that's a part of their last hope of creating a toxin that'll kill the aliens and save the world.
Gotcha.
But this military lady tells them they don't have a lot of time because Miami's overrun with aliens, so it's about to be bombed in a couple of minutes.
If the research lab is critical to their last chance at saving the planet, shouldn't that be the priority instead of bombing the city?
You'd think so, but no, instead they're
No.
going to prioritize bombing a city that already doesn't have humans in it, so there's no immediate threat.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to encounter some of these aliens, and they're very scary. They call them white spikes.
Oh, they're being attacked by hard seltzers?
That's White Claw.
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. So
Whoopsie.
then what happens?
Oh, well, Dan gets like 10 people killed while trying to save one guy and then shows no remorse for it.
Oh, interesting.
So then we're going to use the massive explosion as a transition, and Dan's going to wake up in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, passing out and waking up in the Dominican Republic is tight.
It sure is, sir.
No.
So then he meets up with the military lady, who, as it turns out, is his daughter, but older.
Oh.
Yeah, so she explains that there are like female queen aliens that are much stronger, and the males will do anything to protect them.
So what are they gonna do?
Well, they go to work at this other research facility on the ocean because they have a toxin that kills male aliens, but not females. So they have to work on that.
Oh, they should still use that in the meanwhile, probably.
Yeah, but they're not
No,
gonna.
Oh,
not at
okay.
all.
So then, using this alien queen that they captured, Dan and his daughter start trying to develop a female toxin using science and family.
Nice.
And then they finally finish the toxin, but then all these male aliens show up because they want their queen back.
Oh, so they killed the queen?
Well, no, because they're like, we only have one vial of toxin. We can't waste it on her, you know?
But if they explode her, she would die, right? And that would stop the male aliens from charging towards them?
Yeah, but they're going to try
Yeah.
to run away instead of taking care of the thing that's causing the situation they're currently in.
Oh, okay. Interesting strategy.
So then as they're running away, Murray's gonna get hit by an alien spike.
Oh, no.
And then she's gonna reveal that she brought Dan to the future so he can bring the vial back to the past, and he's the only one who can do it.
Wouldn't he kind of be the worst person for the job since the plan involves abandoning his daughter? Like, wouldn't someone without emotional attachment be a better choice?
You would
maybe.
think.
But I guess she must really trust him, huh?
Actually, no, because in the
No.
past he ends up abandoning her, so she doesn't really trust
No,
this guy.
not at
Okay.
all.
And then she's gonna be falling off this platform towards a bunch of aliens while also bleeding out, so he's gonna dive after her.
But he's got the vial. He's the last hope for humanity.
He doesn't care?
is, but you know, that's his daughter.
But what's the plan with the dive? Like, even if he catches up to her, they're still falling towards
Dead.
aliens, and
Dead.
she's still bleeding out.
I don't know, but it's gonna look cool when he gets zapped back to the past.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then back in
it
the
did.
past, the time travel link is closed, and they have this toxin, but they don't really know what to do with it.
What do you mean? Can't they just bring it to where the aliens first land?
Well, that's the thing. They never actually found a spaceship. All they know is that the aliens showed up in Russia one day.
Oh, so what do they do?
Well, Dan's wife is like, what if they didn't land at that time? What if they were already here? And Dan's like, oh yeah, I think you cracked it.
Literally the whole planet was on the case and not one of the billions
Not-
of people
no.
thought of that before?
That's what we're going with. The protagonist's wife thought of it.
Yes.
Wow, what are the odds?
So then Dan
Who I
gets
think was a therapist. I think that's the only thing she did in
this
the movie.
alien claw from one of the guys he was on the mission with, and they use science and friendship to find out where exactly
The
in
power
Russia
of
it originated
friendship.
from.
Had the future people not brought back any alien parts to examine before? How did they not know this earlier?
I don't know, but they find out the spaceship is frozen in Russia.
Oh, fair enough.
So Dan goes to this military guy and he's like, listen, I have a toxin and I know where the aliens originate from. We need to go there now.
Okay.
And the military guy's like, no. So Dan's like, okay, we're gonna do it ourselves.
Feels like there might be some other people they could talk to before doing that.
Nope. And then Dan
think.
goes to see his estranged father who has a plane and he gets them all to Russia.
Very cool.
And then they find the alien spaceship buried in some ice.
Oh, so now that they have the proof, they can go get the military and the government involved.
Yeah, but they're not gonna.
What?
Well, they're like, governments are just gonna talk about it for a long time, and the United Nations is stupid.
What do you...
And Dan's like,
Apparently.
yeah, I don't have that kind of time. We need to deal with this ourselves now.
He does, though. He has decades, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And if they fail, they'll die with the knowledge of where the spaceship is and
Yes.
humanity is doomed. Or they'll unleash the aliens early
Yes.
and humanity is doomed.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you're right. So then they take pictures and they bring those back, and governments start talking about it. There's a lot of talking, a lot of paperwork and policy making. It takes
But that's
a
not
while.
entertaining.
Well, that sounds kind of boring.
Yeah, so they go in with guns and explosives and stabby
course.
toxins.
Oh, okay, yeah, that does sound a lot more fun. So I guess they jab the queen with the toxin first, huh?
They don't know. They jab some normal white spikes, and that wakes all the aliens up.
Wow, gonna be tough for a small team
Nope.
to fight a ship full of aliens.
Actually, it's going to be super,
Super
easy.
easy, barely an
inconvenience.
inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just blow the ship up with C4, so that does the trick, you know, the aliens die.
Wait, so what was the point of the toxin if they could just kill them with explosives?
Unclear.
They spent the whole movie working on that.
They did.
Yeah, they
So
did,
then
didn't they?
Dan and his father have to fight this one queen alien that escaped.
How do they do that?
Hand-to-hand combat. Pow, pow, punch, punch, slice with a claw.
Sure,
Boom,
that may as
bang.
well happen.
So then Dan kicks the alien off a cliff and everything is great forever. So what do you think?
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to start advertising it. Give it a big push, get inside people's homes.
Like on their TVs and phones and stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well,
but also
that,
have
yeah.
somebody literally ring the doorbell and give them an ad for the movie in their hands.
What are you talking about?
What? That was a thing? What? Amazon puts ad for upcoming Prime movies on packages? I didn't see any of this, and I get stuff from Amazon on the regular. Like, what? All right. Anyway, so needless to say, time paradox is kind of like a big deal within sci-fi and time travel and all that. If something happens to change a certain event, then that changes everything, right? So that's basically what this whole entire movie is a time paradox. They take people from the past and put them into the future, and that doesn't really change anything because there was like this little thing, right, that they talked about, like if they're already dead in the future, then it won't be a time paradox, that it'll be fine. But the fact that all of these people who are going into the future aren't actually alive in the future is actually also creating that time paradox. And then Dan having that conversation with his daughter in the future is actually a time paradox within itself, because she already saw him die. I don't know. So taking that all out of the count, the whole story is basically this guy Dan, Chris Pratt's character, trying to figure out his future, trying to figure out a meaningful future for himself, because he gets like this call or whatever, and he doesn't get accepted, and he gets super annoyed. And then, basically the whole thing happens from like the soldiers from the future coming back to warn everybody what's going on. And then that whole thing happens. And then he meets his daughter in the future, and then sort of tries to figure out, okay, like how do we fix things or whatever. And then eventually his daughter tells him how he dies, even though she strictly said she's not supposed to say anything, but she says the whole entire story, thus, changing a whole bunch of different things that's going to happen, right? So he gets sent back with the vial, and he also meets a friend on the way who was having a little bit of trouble overcoming some stuff. And then you have Chris Pratt's father in the movie, who was kind of estranged. There were some issues there, but everything sort of came together at the end, because you had the guy who was suffering from cancer going out the way that he wanted. There was this other guy, his new friend, that at first, because when he went into the future, he hid. He didn't have the courage or the bravery or anything like that to really put himself in harm's way. So he actually killed one of these things, and he was pretty proud of himself for that. And then Chris Pratt and Chris Pratt's father in the movie, they bond over fighting this thing, which that was a really cool scene too, where it was basically them two versus the Queen, and they were just like sort of like trading blows with it. It looked really cool, even though earlier we saw how devastating some of these things are in the future, and even like a lot of gunfire didn't really take them down. That all taken aside, they had a nice little moment where Chris Pratt's father, Dan's father, ends up, trying to sacrifice himself, for his son. And then his son comes out of nowhere, hits him with that little spike, knocks him off the edge, literally screams, "Die to him." And then they make a joke like, you just tell that thing to die? Well, why didn't you tell that sooner? That would have worked perfectly. So then everything just sort of gets this happy ending. The grandfather, Dan's father in the movie, finally gets to meet his granddaughter, because that was another thing that didn't happen, because the two of them were estranged, and they all finally came together with a happy movie. The guy with the cancer patient got his way to go out. The guy who didn't have any courage found courage, and yeah. And there was also a really nice line there, a line that I felt that was hilarious, because I live in South Florida. It's about I live about an hour or so north of Miami, and the Dolphins are one of the football teams that I root for. And he's like, "Do the Dolphins ever win the Super Bowl in the future? If so, like how many years from then? Like, what's the spread? Like all this other stuff." And I got a huge kick out of that, because they haven't won a Super Bowl in a very long time. But with all the time paradox stuff thrown aside, I was thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Mostly the story of Chris Pratt's character, and like realizing where his true future was, and that was with his family. And like all of the characters sort of having like that moment of redemption. It was really satisfying story to me. But so that will do it for me here. Before I go, though, I wanted to give a huge shout out to all my $5 and up supporters on Patreon: Marvin Espinoza, Cruising, Wolverine 310, and Kevster Cronage, aka Kevin Crone. Thank you guys so much. And if you too like to have your name mentioned at the end of each and every one of my videos, plus many other fun goodies, please head on over to patreon.com/DennisMacha and become a Patreon supporter today. And with that being said, comment down below, what did you think about Tomorrow War? Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Also, want to see past Rex and other pitch meetings. Got a nice playlist right over there full of videos for you. Share this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Ring notification bell because we'll put up new videos every single day. And I will see you guys next time.